All month, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the very first No Backboard Basketball League event that took place on February 26, 2005. So I'm spending the month of February sharing untold stories, experiences, and what I've learned over the past 20 plus years of stewarding this vision for the No Backboard Basketball League. Today, we're going to pick back up talking about NBA All-Star and racial barrier breaker Willie Naulls and his role in abetting the idea of the No Backboard Basketball League. All that and more on the No Backboard Basketball Show.
That we get back to talking about this community, because I think that's one way, and that I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it may be the tagline you use there, if you change the game, change the community.
I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker. I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker.
Great question. So, the No Backboard Basketball League, the vision of it is a new recreational basketball platform to provide opportunities for Black and brown individuals to actually own wealth creating assets in the sports space. Welcome to the No Backboard Basketball Show. I am your host, Mark Tee Armstrong, inventor of Basketball to Remix, the modern interpretation of the original game, and founder of the No Backboard Basketball League. The No Backboard Basketball League is envisioned as an alternative basketball platform, providing alternative basketball development, alternative basketball recreation, and alternative basketball entertainment. Purpose to make a positive impact on American basketball. To learn more about my why, check out my book on Amazon, No Backboard Basketball, Remixing Basketball as a Catalyst for Change. Again, that's available on Amazon. And we're also ramping up for a membership drive. And we're building out a digital card collection on OpenSea. And I'm excited about this project because it will serve as a funding mechanism for the No Backboard Basketball League. But we're able to provide a digital asset that's going to sit on the Ethereum blockchain. And I believe the utilities that we're going to give in exchange for the one-time membership fee into the UHooper Society will far outweigh and provide significant value with some upside, because since it is a digital asset sitting on Ethereum blockchain, you can sell it at any time you feel you are not getting value from it. So check out that collection on OpenSea. The link will be in the description.
Tired of the three-point obsession, the commercialization of youth basketball, and a game where skill development takes a back seat? Introducing No Backboard Basketball, remixing basketball as a catalyst for change. This isn't just a book, it's a movement. Rediscover basketball's roots, where the focus is on community, creativity, and real opportunities for Black and brown youth. No more barriers for families without deep pockets. Get your copy on Amazon now and join the revolution that's changing the game and changing lives.
All right. So we left off discussing how my life crossed paths with former NBA All-Star and racial barrier breaker Willie Naulls. Through volunteering at his ministry summer camp, I was exposed for the first time to netball hoops. And as I closed out the last episode by stating that meeting Willie Naulls was great, meeting the four-time NBA All-Star, meeting a gentleman who was the first Black captain for the New York Knicks, meeting the gentleman that was one of the first all-Black starting five in the NBA, playing for the Boston Celtics. Meeting that man was awesome. Volunteering in his summer program where I first saw the netball hoops on the wall and picked up the ball and start shooting on that, and enjoying the sound of the chain nets that were on those netball hoops. All of that was awesome. But it was Pastor Naulls that made the biggest impact. But before we can proceed with the rest of the story, I think it's important to frame two important points. Again, this whole objective of sharing these insights is to go beyond just the whole business, the business layer and the capital raising layer and the mission and purpose layer, and give people the opportunity to see what's really the genuine, authentic motivation, intent, and how in the world did I get here and stay with this thing for 20 years. So the first part is, let me start with saying this. I know there is a God, and I know there is a supreme intelligence, force, power, whatever you want to call that. Being raised in the United States, my spiritual foundation is Christianity. And within this context, if you understand Christianity and the offices or in the gifts, I would fall under the category of a prophet. So though I've been a licensed minister of the gospel before, I have a 20-year track record of service in various churches, from Sunday school leader to being the head of men's fellowship, to actually being an armor bearer to the pastor, the head pastor. I fulfilled many roles over a 20-year track record of dependable, faithful, reliable service. Today, my ministry, my service is the No Backboard Basketball League. So, and though I went to a Catholic university, I didn't get saved until I was an adult, right? So I didn't grow up as a Christian. That wasn't my orientation. And it wasn't until after I graduated that I did get saved, and I got baptized by Dr. Billy Ingram, rest in peace, of Maranatha Community Church in Los Angeles. And I remember when I was baptized, when I came up out of the water, they asked me, as soon as I came up, what was the first thoughts that had came to mind. And my first thought was, the world was perfect and it's man that's broken. And I think that is true today. So, having no Christian heritage in my family, I had no orientation to the black church, right? And so what that means is my experience in receiving information was very academic from my experiences of attending and graduate university. So that made it difficult for me to connect with the preachers that are typically depicted as black preachers. I definitely couldn't do the old school Baptist preachers. I couldn't do any of that. I needed substance. I needed to be structured like a class. So all of my pastors and spiritual leaders have been teachers. And I was so rigid on this point about where I attended church, that the pastor was a teacher in the way they presented in the way they carried on their business, that when I moved to Arizona in 2000, it was months before I found the church. Because either I would go to the church and they were preaching, and when I say preaching, I mean they are reading the scripture as a foundation, and then they take off, and they may never circle back to that scripture or add another scriptural context in their preaching. And that just didn't resonate with me, because I was hungry. I'm a learner, right? So either when I went to Arizona, they was preaching too much, or if they did teach, there was too much activism in the pulpit, right? I'm a guy, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to worship, I'm going to get my word, I'm going to fellowship, and I'm going to bounce. So I go for a specific purpose. I don't go there to be part of I don't want to be in church. I don't want to be evangelized for anything outside of the gospel. Anything outside the gospel, if it's coming across the pulpit and that is the MO, I won't be there very long. Give me the word. Give me this good word, the solid word. Give me some great worship. Give me a congregation of like-minded people. And that works for me. So after I got saved, I was strongly influenced by two ministries before meeting Pastor Naulls, right? So after I got saved, a few years later, in a very decent and orderly manner, I left Maranatha Church and I joined the Church of the Harvest, a Foursquare church in Los Angeles on the corner of La Brea and Jefferson. And at that time, there was a young, dynamic, prophetic, preaching teacher, pastor by the name of Bishop Clarence McClendon. He took over there. And it was under Bishop McClendon's ministry that I had that significantly impact my spiritual awareness, right? You have the Logos and you have the Rhema, right? And McClendon had the ability to bring the Logos with a whole lot of Rhema. And that started to open up and start helping to wake my spiritual faculties. And also teaching from the Old Testament, the prophets, and learning how to read the Old Testament and the prophets. Then there's a gentleman by the name of Al Hollingsworth, along with his wife, Hattie, and their B.O.S. ministry, building on spiritual substance, had the biggest impact in shaping and developing my spiritual faculties at that time in life. The way I would describe Al and Hattie's B.O.S. program is they distill the teachings of the Bibles into spiritual principles, then provide the everyday person with very practical strategies on actually how to implement spiritual principles into your life. And what made the ministry so legit was their weekend 20-hour fast, right? So you would start a fast on a Friday afternoon, you would start your fast. Then depending upon where you were, you would go out to their facility and you arrive first thing in the morning. I believe we'll say we started at 7, 8 at the latest. I want to say 7, but 8 at the latest. And man, it's like 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours of praise and worship, right? Praise and worship. And I'll tell you this, from my personal experience, if you're in a real praise and worship environment for that long, if there's anything funky or dirty up in it, it's going to get up and get out. And I've witnessed it more than enough times. For those who have ears, let them hear. So we would do that. Then we would spend the rest of the day teaching, sound teaching. Into the evening, we would wrap up, people would go home, and then rinse and repeat Sunday. Same thing, come back, hours of praise and worship, teaching. Then late afternoon, there would be some tests for people that were graduating to become certified teachers of the program. Then we would break the fast and we would fellowship. And it was a very powerful experience. Particularly back then, I don't think fasting and prayer was, well, I can't necessarily say that. It depends upon how, who you're associated with. Fasting and prayer has always been a thing. And I actually became a certified teacher of the B.O.S. program, right? So I got these great teachers. I have Bishop McClendon over here who's bringing solid word with strong spiritual prophetic energy. I have Al and Hattie's Hollingsworth B.O.S. program. I've become a certified teacher. I'm actually teaching kids these principles. I believe I ran 2 classes. Then I'm reading books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. An old book, The Lost Art of Concentration, The 3 Magic Words. Again, those who have ears, let them hear. So by the time I met Pastor Naulls, I had experienced a season of solid, fundamental, sound Bible teaching and significant spiritual awakening. And I was exposed to various thought processes on how to take ideas and turn them into things. So picking up the story from there, after a summer where this 31, 32-year-old former college basketball player is coming off a summer of shooting the ball like he's never shot before. I mean, I'm shooting the ball like Bo Kimbo or Jeff Fryer. Again, I knew there was something there. Now, I haven't thought much about this time in my life in some time. So some of the sequencing may be off a little bit, but the next significant event is this. And let me frame it. I never attended a Sunday service at Willie Naulls Ministry. And when I think about it, what attracted me to Pastor Naulls from a ministry standpoint is the same reason why I didn't attend his church on Sundays, right? You gotta remember, Pastor Naulls played for John Wooden in the 50s, right? He was a button-up example of Black excellence from that era. So his presentation was very, very conservative. What I was getting on Sundays at Clarence McClendon's Church of a Harvest, was a good word and all of the side benefits a full gospel church in Los Angeles can give someone. And that Sunday church energy was intoxicating. It was intoxicating. So I couldn't get I can't say I couldn't get what I needed, but I couldn't get what I wanted on Sundays from, Pastor Naulls' church. But I would occasionally attend his Bible studies, which were always rich. And Pastor Naulls was a graduate of the Fuller Theological Seminary, world-renowned seminary, which I believe leans towards the conservative. Yet before launching his ministry, he sat under Frederick K.C. Price of Crenshaw Christian Center, a legend in modern day Christianity and a leader of the faith movement. So here again, we have this solid Christian teaching doctrine, this approach, aligned with a very progressive spiritual thought in a way, in an effort to apply spirituality to get practical results in your own life. So though Pastor Naulls, he delivered a solid conservative word during Bible study, almost like if I was back at class at Loyola Marymount University, his prayers were charged with power and purpose. And it was at the close of one of these Bible studies. It was, if I recall correctly, about 10 people were in the sanctuary, were sitting in a circle. It's the close of Bible study. Pastor Naulls is praying. And what I remember is, there are industries in you. He declares there are industries in you. And I grabbed that. I snatched that. I received that statement as if God was speaking to me directly, which I believe he was. I didn't say anything to anybody, didn't say anything to anyone. But I did walk away with a strong sense of purpose. And the next thing, man, I was at the Inglewood Public Library. I was at the Loyola Marymount University Public Library. I was doing research on the history of sports leagues, the sports business. I started reading the rule books for professional basketball, college basketball, FIBA, start learning the history of basketball. And over the course of 6 months, I started to formulate the concept for basketball to remix, an alternative basketball sport. Played without a backboard, obviously, with a smaller hoop. So for me, I started this effort with a Moses and a burning bush moment. I started this effort with a Moses and a burning bush moment, where I had a moment that was a dedicated moment, an environment to hear the voice of God, and God spoke to me about doing this. And in retrospect, and I believe this would be a ministry for me moving forward, is understanding seed time and harvest. He gave me the seed, but it wasn't the time to get a harvest. So there's two other significant developments or contributions that Pastor Naulls makes to the story. But before those contributions were made, and I speak to those, there's one more event or revelation that happened that makes up the trifecta of events. There's three things that happen all around the same time, and the culmination of those three things intersecting in my brain not just brings forth the ideal of Basketball the Remix, the modern interpretation of the original game, Basketball Without Backboards, but also a vision to create an entire new niche industry that can empower a group of people who historically have been disenfranchised from participating in the economic wealth and growth that their community has been instrumental in establishing the foundation that the modern basketball industry stands on today. And that's what we will reflect on the next episode. I really hope you enjoyed this segment and learning these insights, and me peeling back and getting a bit more personal and giving you an opportunity to understand my motivations, the reason, and how I became motivated in the beginning of this whole journey. So I'm simply striving to be a vehicle for God to do something great for a group of people that might be forgotten and left behind economically if I don't do this. And I don't want to go to the grave with that on my mind, knowing that I got an inkling from the universe and I cowered before the challenge. Hey, I'm Mark Tee. Be blessed. I'll see you at the next episode, and I'll see you at the top. That was strong. That last piece was strong. Give me the full thing.
Empowerment's the goal in every role. Sports and tech, it's how we roll. Creating jobs, shaping minds, and every dribble opportunity unwinds. Education, careers in the clear, internships, skills, community cheer. Legacy of diversity, inclusion so fierce. We're changing the narrative.